Miss Genesis Portini, and I want to lead you all for the National Chess Championships in 6 weeks' time.
People might want to get through the obvious question of how you gained the weight and everything, because clearly you're back to
my svelte self.
Your svelte self.
The director asked me to go method. Anybody know what method acting is?
Yeah.
It means that you have to live in the role for the duration of the shoot and some of the prep. And I lived in the role for 3 months. And Jen, I prepared for up to 6 months actually, but Jen was an avid beer drinker. And I'm not. Okay. So I got to drink beer, like 1 dozen to 2 dozen beers a day while playing chess 24 hours a day. Okay. It was awesome. I got really fat.
And how does that, I mean, just affect you as a person? And
no,
presumably you've got less energy. You're a different person in some ways when because you put on about 4 stone. 4 stone.
A lot more than that.
A lot more than that.
I don't know. What's 4 stone? I don't know. How many pounds is 4 stone?
Like 56.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's about 4 stone. Yeah, I did. I was huge.
But does that affect you in ways?
Yeah, it does. Firstly, the first few weeks, I became really nauseous. And I started to feel dizzy and felt really nauseous and sick. Then it actually sort of, the edge went off and it actually became quite fun. And then you turn into like, especially if you're focusing on the mania, you know, if you're like, and then you focus on the mania, and which is about being quite manic about things and obsessed about things. And then you suddenly become interested about all manner of things. And then you become like this happy Buddha. Very jolly. It's all about comfort. None of my clothes fitted, not even my undies. So it's like I just stayed in the costume. It was lovely. And then one of the big blankets, the one that sort of had like a tiger stripes, that was actually Jen's blanket given to me by his wife. Okay. So, you know, I just slept in that thing and in his clothes. I smelt a bit, but that's not unusual. And then, and then the pink Crocs, and it's all about being comfortable and being fat and round and it's cuddly and warm, and it's quite pleasant. Okay. Yeah. But the linchpin for me about the character and the role in the movie was one word, and it's just kind of cheesy to say it, but it's true, and it's love. And I said to the director, it's like, all the physicality aside, which is quite superficial, because I didn't know whether I wanted to gorge myself and get fat. There's all of these things about like Robert De Niro put on this weight, and you know, these actors that want to put on their weight to be like Robert De Niro. I was like, I'm not fascinated with that at all. I don't like the health prospects of it, and I don't want to be spending my time trying to get the weight off. It's like, I wasn't encouraged by that at all. But what I do agree was fascinating to be about the character. The mental illness was fascinating. The chess was like not interesting to me, but what really fascinated to me was the idea of the love that this man exuded to anybody he came across. He was unbiased in the way that he loved and how he loved. He was such a generous human being, unlike me. But you know, and that was a distinction. It's like I can be quite guarded about that. And I thought, you know, I've got to really dig in. If I'm going to get this role right, I really have to open my heart and be really. And I thought, if we get that right with these kids on screen, and I thought that's a fascinating place to live for 3 months or 6 months. And that was kind of the anchor that sort of like we could pivot from. Yeah. Is the scene filled with love? Love can be painful, love can be joyous, love can be a lot of different things. But I thought that was really the linchpin to understand the character, not putting on the weight and losing the teeth.
Yeah.
Real.
And what kind of mark does that whole making the film, spending those months on the character, does that leave a mark on you?
Well, it does, because you start going through it and you sort of start losing your mind a little bit. You know, for when we were doing the scene in the ward was our first day of shoot when he's all depressed. And you know, and I was so in the state of depression when I shot that scene, I couldn't move. And I wet myself, for example. You know, I was just in this complete sort of state of depression, and it was really, really weird, because there's a part of your brain going, what are you doing? And it's like, you know, you're trying to shut off that part of reasoning mind and to be present to what it would be to be mentally ill, and to not have, you've got so many drugs in your system that you can't move, you can't speak, you're trapped inside of your own body. And that was kind of the extent, that was the furthest extreme. And then, so like the first couple of days, I really did feel like I was losing my own mental health. And I would stay up night and write these big long emails to the director, trying to sort of like grasp at like what was real and what was necessary, what was unnecessary. My wife and my family had to go through it. So when I was with them, I was like this happy, sort of like bipolar, manic clown, trying to be happy. It was like a really sort of weird thing. And really what you're left with is you think, oh my God, I hope it's worth it. I hope that this is not a big waste of time and this movie's okay. Because otherwise we're just like, it's an overindulgent waste of resources and time. But I don't know, what do you think? Was it worth it?
I think it was worth it, yeah.
Did you think it was worth it?
Yeah, of course it was.
Jim, what are you doing? I can help them. They'll have a purpose. You talk dreams to those tamarikis, you better follow through. Take your meds, get your sleep, whatever. Just promise me you won't let them down.
Jen could handle himself, let's put it that way. I mean, and yeah, he was a very intimidating guy, and he could totally deal with a violent situation physically. But we didn't. The director thought, well, there are a number of things that he, you know, we just narrowed the focus there. But often he dealt with conflict because he was so imposing, he didn't have to. So, and he was a chess player. So there were just fantastic stories about him sort of like out intimidating the intimidator without, just by using, he's just so smart. You know, he played chess all the time. And there's these great stories about him dealing with people in a non-violent way. But if needs must, yeah, he could kick ass. he was extraordinary. Like he could literally, like, as large as he was, he could like lift his foot to above his head from standing on a single foot. It was an extraordinary guy.
I would just thank once again Koch Media for allowing us to show the film here, and remind you that it goes on release in the UK on April the 3rd. And once you've found out how to describe it to your friends and convey your enthusiasm, please help spread the word and make it a great success. And join me in thanking Mr. Cliff Curtis. Thank you.